So many of my friends constantly talk about how they haven't achieved something in their life at the right time, right? Like, I should have been married by this age. I should have had kids by this age. I should be more successful by this age. I thought I'd be an entrepreneur or famous, or I should have had this degree. We put so many restrictions on ourselves based on what we think we're supposed to do, the timeline that we're supposed to be lining up with. In this week's Parshat Vayera, it is so abundantly clear that we should take that mindset and throw it out the window. Because Moses, at 80 years old, and Aaron, at 83 years old, really start their life's journey. And they're not the first ones in the Torah to get a late start in life. Abraham was also in his 80s when God comes to him and tells him he's going to have this covenant. Rabbi Akiva was 40 when he first even just realized that there was the Torah and there's all this learning. We're not supposed to start when everyone else tells us to start. It's when we feel our life has meaning. Now, I have a personal connection to this idea because I have a very special grandfather who at 70 years old became famous. 70. He's not going to be remembered for a lot of things in his life, but what he's going to for sure be remembered for was at 70, he paid his workers and he made the news and he did this big Kiddush Hashem. Now, he was a cool person beforehand, but at 70 is when he really left his mark in the world. And so I think that we're all on different tracks. And we don't know when our journey is going to really begin. And the truth of the matter is, all of life is a journey. A close friend of mine yesterday said something so interesting to me. You have to love the journey. You have to love the struggle. You have to love the growing process. And that honestly, when you stop loving it, there's nothing left, right? Like, imagine if you achieve greatness at 15 years old and the rest of your life you're going downhill. Imagine that existence. Now, not all of us need to be famous. Not all of us need to achieve such lofty, crazy things. I'm not talking about success in the way that maybe society wants us to be successful. I'm talking about success for you. Who are you? Every stage of your life, you're learning about yourself. You're growing. You can achieve something. Even if you think you started up here, like maybe Moses thought the height of my life was going to be growing up in Pharaoh's palace. And then once he had to run away, it was like, well, guess that's over. Could have been like Yosef, like I achieved greatness at 17 and now I'm in a pit and being sold off as a slave. Well, that was a waste. No. You never know where you're going to end up. You never know what life has in store for you. But every step of the way, if you're asking yourself, am I proud of myself today? Am I trying my best? Am I pushing myself in ways that I didn't think I could? Am I embracing the challenges in front of me? Then that's winning. That's the journey. And lastly, it talks about how Moses had a speech impediment. He says to God, like, you want me to save these people, but like my lips are sealed. Like I can't speak. And yet Moses is the one that we constantly look to as the man who argues with God, the man who stood up to Paro, the man who spoke to the people. So this person who couldn't speak ended up being the one that we literally envision speech from. Whatever setbacks you think you have in your life, don't believe that that's the end. That could be the beginning. Hashem knew if Moses could speak, surely everybody would know that God was flowing through him. Those were God's words. Now, all of us are created in the image of God, B'Tselem Elohim. So just imagine, we have our strengths, but even our weaknesses, we have the power to overcome. And when we do, and we believe that there's nothing standing in our way, that is when we make the biggest difference. When we prove to ourselves that we can just become whoever we want to be, as long as we're being true to who we are and to our real identity. And that's the true way to live the journey, to judge the journey, and to never compare yourself to others, because nothing could be more detrimental to your future and your prosperity. Shabbat Shalom.